I'd like to analyze these three teams critically, one by one. Let me start with Anne's team. If you look at Anne's team, Anne is a person who was also in the elections last year. She was under Manyara's team, but of course she was being hyped. She was being put out there. She was even joining Manyara in some of the campaigns, but in the final end, she was not put in the team. I don't know for one reason or another. Just like the way the commission has been removing some people from the lineups. So yes, she was there in last year's elections. She was not able to get in the final nomination list, but she's been vocal about student issues. Part of that team also is a guy called Majiwa. Majiwa is, I think, one of the most experienced guys in terms of campus elections right now who are currently in school. He served in SONU, he served in the last UNSA election as the chairman for CHS, and is now coming in as the Secretary General for this Vuria's team. So you can see there's a balance of in terms of experience and in terms of even gender balance, of course, has been achieved in the team. Some people are trying to say, of course, it will be the first time the University of Nairobi is going to have a female president, which is a good thing. And if you look at Majio, is also bringing the necessary experience, and of course, he's from a good school, the School of Pharmacy. So let me go to the next team. So I just want to do a brief of the key members in every team. Those are the key members in Anne Vuria's team, those two, Majiwa and Anne herself. Anne is from School of Law, so she's quite conversant with the law, the constitution, how the universities run, and even issues to do with the student politics in other universities. Because we're also looking at KUSO, because KUSO is also coming up, I'm sure you understand. If you look at Ayoma's team, I would say he's a one-man army.
Why are you saying
If
that?
you look at Ayoma's team, he's the only one in that team who people know. All the other people are new faces. And something about Ayoma's team, most of the people in Ayoma's team are ladies. So I'm not sure the criteria Ayoma used to come up with the team. But from my perspective, Ayoma's team is majorly the only guy who's going to do most of the job. He's competent. He's been the main campus chair. He delivered a couple of events for students in main campus at the towers, from the freshers bash to many other activities and talks on issues to do with NSC and stock exchange. So Ayoma is quite vocal. We've seen him even lead demonstrations in the streets when students need to protest against this or that thing. We've seen Ayoma, of course, he's delivered a couple of press conferences as well. So I wouldn't want to go much into Ayoma, but Ayoma is, I've spoken quite about him. He's a good candidate. He's served before. He knows the rules. He knows how to play his politics. If you look at the third team is Oile. Etman Oile is a guy who was also in last year's election. Last year's election, he was vying as the chairman for Kai, but he was not successful. He was not able to clinch the seat. But all this time, since April last year to this time, he's been very silent. It's only recently when we hear of him, I would actually compare him to Peter Kenneth in national politics, who only comes to students when at the time of elections. Same to Anne. Anne actually has never spoken anything through this period from last year to April this year. But in something special about Oile's team is that he's been able to get two key people from the last regime. If you look at the Ontita, who's the sports secretary in Oile's team, has been the secretary general for main campus in Ayoma's team of the former regime. If you look at, he's also gotten some guy called the former secretary general for Kenya Science Campus. He's also coming into this team as a secretary general. So he has brought in some kind of experience, people who actually know how UNSA is run, the new constitution, and how things are run. But I think in terms of expertise and in terms of knowledge about the system, I would generally rate all the teams just around the same area.